What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be going over BT-21's competitive tier list, and the audio will be correct this time, so you will not be blowing out your ears left and right. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So this was my prediction for 2.5 competitive tiers, and the only thing that I would just say would have probably need to be corrected here was this. Mirage is definitely a solid tier 2 during that format, but it was always an option nonetheless. But Galaxy, even though taking Worlds, this was just where we kind of just saw things landing. Now we got 89 images to work with this set. So first off, Bloom Lord, aka Green Ranger, which, you know, there's two versions here, which I will say are probably one of the best versions for this list. And it's just I think the deck is great under the right pilot. You can do a lot of shenanigans with it. If I can find the bloody Green Ranger, I would tell you. Where's Leopard X? Where is the Leopard X image in here? Here it is. So both great variants. Bloom Lord and Leopard X are both basically almost the same deck across the board. They have great synergy across. You know, Leopard X will be able to play bodies for free, but Bloom Lord will apply the aggression, and sometimes you see them intermix. Sometimes it's really separate. They both play similar on the way they want to do. They're going to be spitting out bodies for free, being able to spend, evolve for free, and just do what it wants. Now, you do have Black War Greymon X Antibody. I think it's good, but definitely needs support. A lot of the tier 2 decks kind of check this deck even now, and it's just, even the new wave of support isn't just there yet. And if we were to go about it, I would say even with the War Greymon getting some adventure package War Greymon stuff, I just don't see it being there as well. You know, even taking Greymon Tribal, which is a lower to the ground aggressive deck, it just seems good. I think it does follow a little bit to the wayside because it did lose like Gravity Crush and a Blinding Ray to kind of just do what it wanted. So now it's just kind of slowing down a little bit. But yeah, that's just kind of how that's going here. If we find out where the where's Gaiomon? So Gaiomon definitely feels like it just needs some better support, and I hopefully, even though it got the promo Gaiomon, which we could say bumped it up to tier 3, kind of holding its own here, I definitely think we're gonna need that, you know, Furious mode and whatever BT-22 will give it to kind of just solidify in stone what it wants to do, right? Now we do have Mirage, definitely a solid dead deck here, but Hexablow version of the deck where it focuses on what Mirage was trying to do, but uses the Hexablow top end with one Mirage leads into being very scary. The deck just being able to source strip and control the board how it wants is super good. Phoenixmon, definitely with the loss of, you know, the ancient package definitely brought it to crazy strong, but I feel like we're still in a, I think we're gonna just put it tier 3 for right now, top of tier 3 really. Just really good deck at the end of the day, but at the same time it can do really well into tier 2, but then once the tier 1 starts smacking its face in, it does kind of lose that momentum pretty quickly. Galacticmon is very powerful. The new option is just deadly as hell. And then just the new line it got is just really solid. It kind of surprises me that how quickly they went like, you know what, this Digimon hasn't really done much. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna upgrade the hell out of it. And that's what they did. I'm gonna say Mugen right now is tier 3. It can do well if you're under the right pilot and you don't face certain tier 1 decks that can just smack its face in before it gets set up. You know, it's in a good spot, but then there's times where you're just missing pieces and it kind of just folds to itself. Yes, we've gotten better and better where we can just kill security just by breathing into a threat, but at the end of the day, that's just kind of how it goes. Hunters is crazy strong at, I think, the new support, even just the small bit of support it got. You know, 2 new tamers, super rare classification, Taiki and, you know, the main tamer for this, and I'm really botching that one. Being able to have those 2, Tanjiro, Tanjiro, whatever the hell his name is, and the new superior mode and the new Arrestramon and the new, you know, everything this deck got just really solidify this deck to be actually very competitive. Beelzemon, definitely think it's falling into the wayside of tier 3. You know, it got a little bit of support last set, but outside of that, it's just not there. I mean, a couple set ago, because in JP, it was like BT-18 that they got it. Oh, yeah, BT-18. So, yeah, we were missing that. Now, we do have Rosemon as well as a valid option. I definitely think it's good, but definitely needs some new support. It's just showing its age, right? Actually, to be honest with you, yeah, say it's good. It can definitely play into the tier 2 homies, but outside of that, I don't see it going crazy. D-Brigade, as much as I want to say it's a good deck, and, you know, you do have access to the Chaos Mons, I just don't see the deck synergizing how it wants, and it's good, but definitely needs some new support on top of it. And even if we took the counterpart, you know, Digipolice, it's just give it better support at this point. It's missing something, and the Commandramon line mixing with this just wasn't enough for it to kind of synergize right, and it's just been sitting on the wayside trying to wait for new support. Fenrir Luga, just the base form, I think got really solid. It swapped over its strats a little bit. It was always a good deck, but it was just, why would you play this deck if Take was a deck in existence? You know, this deck still very powerful tier 2. I think when it goes off, it is scary. Even if they had that Fenrir Luga, if they only need to get to that Fenrir Luga once, and then they're all set. It's the fact that it was being abused with the restriction list. I don't think it dies out. Most players will just say it's tier 3 now, but I think it's still probably like bottom tier 2. Melga definitely is setting at a gatekeeper set, but there's also another Melga style of play that I don't have the image for, but it was from using the Melga that kind of just spits out resources. This deck is starting to show some trends, so I don't know if it'll long-term show up, but being able to kind of loop and get your sources to spit out constantly and just keep turn and just keep pushing, just something to think about. I think Melga definitely can go off when it goes off, and you got some new support in the adventure with the Gabus, so just something to think about. Purple Hybrid, aka Apocalypse style. The Apocalypse style deck I think is still pretty solid tier 2, not really top end tier 2, good to take to a locals, but I can't wait for it to get more support. Green, blue, Imperial Dramon definitely sitting as crazy strong. The deck is as powerful as it always has been. That slap on the wrist was not enough to kill off the deck's existence. Now you do have the Tyrant. Tyrant I definitely think is a good deck, but at the higher ups, it's just gotten outs now in the tier 2 and tier 1s that just don't really care about it. Black base Dexteruga, definitely think with the promo it added something to the strategy just a little bit, and with the stuff from last set with the Death X and stuff, you can do some little cheeky stuff. The deck has great into anything high ace style of plays, so it's just something to think about there. Now, Rapidmon, I definitely think is still solidly a great tier 2 deck. It's just not going to go anywhere out of the format. Then Magnamon X Antibody, just really powerful card. There's nothing else to say. Red Ancient Greymon, still pretty solid. The deck hasn't really changed much. There hasn't been anything crazy screaming that this deck is broken. You know, the hit did hurt it a little bit because, again, they have some new toys to play with, but it's just not enough toys. I think with the restriction to Purple Hybrid, the deck Ancient Garu kind of went from to the wayside to actually being competitive. But again, that was probably because a lot of players were like, you know, Duskmon does the job better, so why would we play Ancient Garurumon? Well, Ancient Garurumon's a little bit faster now because now you don't have to try to get, you know, it went from, you know, being a 3-card combo that needs to be set up in the trash, you know, you need to have at least 1 Duskmon in trash, 1 in hand, and then, you know, the Koichi just being ready to swing into when digivolving, kind of just do all what you need. So it did bring some layers to that. So this deck just has some great value going for it. Argomon, definitely a dead deck. There's not much you can do with it. Purple base Dexteruga, I would definitely say the Dex version for purple base got a little bit of stuff to play with, but nothing too crazy. At the end of the day, I think that's where it's going. Eosmon, give it better support. It can definitely handle the tier 3s and play with the tier 2s a little bit, but there's going to be some tier 2s it just folds to. The new Emperor Greymon, with the new support it got in the main set, plus the promo, it's just been a good day for it. Blue hybrid source strips, dead deck, it's just not doing much. You know, Magna Garuru, definitely going to say good, but definitely needs some more support. It was trying to do something, and I just don't feel like it's getting there. Setcon, with Mother D Reaper gone, I think it's good, but definitely needs more now. It's just losing out the combination of Shoto plus Mother D Reaper hurt the deck in a lot of ways. Duskmon, to be honest with you, we could say it's tier 2, but I think it's actually going to be a tier 1 deck still. Players adapted to the list very comfortably and changed things up to just get there. I think with Duskmon being something in the fray, you just need to be ready and prepared for Purple Hybrid to kind of just do what it wants. The blue fish that we kind of got a couple sets ago for BT 2.0. It's great support, but it needs something more. Dynasmon is sitting at 4. Just give it better support. It needs another wave or two to kind of just finite fix what they were changing paths. Lucemon, I definitely think it's a solid tier 2 deck and can play right into the tier 2 field very comfortably. Tops in a local scene at DigiGuard United online constantly. So, and they're not really like a group of players that, you know, have weaklings playing, right? It's actually a little more higher event class because there's a lot of good prizing in it. So definitely seeing this top consistently into that might be something to think about. B base, good, but definitely needs a bit more. Dark Nightmon, even with the Lord Nightmon support, it just needs a bit more, to be honest. Lord Nightmon, definitely think it's solid tier 2. I mean, with the Doggo engine, it just does what it needs. Millenniumon, definitely good, but definitely needs some more support at this point. Red, Purple Imperial Dramon, very solid, strong. It loses only to really not seeing its pieces. The deck can just really, really punish your opponent. But again, that's, you got to play the lottery slots, and if you hit the lottery, you win. It's just kind of how that goes. You have Jesmon GX. I think Jesmon's a very solid tier 2 deck. It kind of just shifts from 3 to 2 constantly whenever new support comes in. Then you do have none other than the Giga Seadramon. So definitely solid tier 2 deck. I think it does well into all these tier 2s and can probably sneak wins against tier 1 decks under right pilots. Pulsemon deck, good, but definitely needs some more support. The support wasn't just enough. Excel, I definitely think, is a gatekeeper tier 2 deck, very solid. Invisimon is just a dead deck. Pure Invisi just needs some more TLC. The none other than Chronicles deck, definitely tier 2, very solid. Heavy Metal Dramon Ace sitting as a dead deck. Necromon, definitely say it's a tier 3 deck. It can tango with gatekeepers pretty decently, but once it starts getting against the crazy strongs, it kind of struggles a little bit. Zephyga, if you're not playing the Medieval Gallantmon, you're going to be struggling, and I would say it brings it kind of closer to, you know, pilot dependency, you know, bottom tier 2. But if you're playing Medieval, you're a little bit higher in the tier 2 category. Now, we do have Royal Knights. Royal Knights sitting at a comfortably crazy strong, stupid broken. Medusa, I'll definitely say right now, good, needs a bit more kind of to fix its issues, and then boom, it'll be set. The Puppetmon theme deck for the Dark Masters, good, but definitely needs some more support. Examon, X Antibody, Definitely think it's a tier 2 deck. We're seeing it starting to top in Japan more and more, even at 22 locals. So it's just something to think about. Then you have Digimon, Digimon. This thing is a powerhouse, being able to basically loop itself to die and then play out, you know, the war growl and then set itself back up is all great and powerful. I think being able to clear the board is something that it wants to do, and as long as it keeps doing that and you clear the board and get to apply pressure, it's just all a good day. Now, Armor Rush, definitely crazy strong. It's starting to do some crazy things. Applemon, I definitely think, to be honest with you, I want to say it's tier 3. It can go into a local super comfortably, but if it's too heavy set on crazy strong decks and there's just some of its bigger, badder matchups into, you know, Apple, just needs another couple waves of support and I think it'll be ready. Tie was Heroes. So the hero deck, I definitely think it's good. Might even just say it's like bottom tier 2. It's just being able to have the access to everything that the heroes support got. You know, Seriousmon, you know, Shine Greymon, and even the Hunter's cards like Restaurant Superior Mode and stuff like that. Just all great takeaways for the deck. Black base, you know, Chronicles, just really solid. Just both Oryukins are really good. Mother D River, I'll say good, but definitely needs more support. Even though it got recent support, it's just not there. Dragon Links, just give it better support at this point. I would love to say it needs a bit more, but I mean, the deck got a promo. It wasn't enough to kind of bring it into the fray. Then we got none other than Blue Flare, just sitting at a tier 3 deck. I think just the tier 2s just start eating this deck alive. Heavy Leo, definitely a solid tier 3. I would say Levia's still very competitive, crazy strong. Just being able to be that alligator that just punishes your opponent is always good. Galaxy, I wouldn't say it's tier 1 at this point. There's just a lot of good removal now into the format, which pushes Galaxy down. And again, if the stack is removed early enough and you can just keep applying pressure, the deck kind of just folds. 7 Great Demon Lords, definitely a tier 2 deck. No questions asked there. Ragna Lord, definitely think it needs some more support. And again, it just can do well into the tier 2. Like, nothing's wrong with the tier 3 format. They can definitely fight the tier 2s a little more comfortably, but the tier 1s are going to beat up its day. Mastemon, definitely feel like even with the promo, it's not enough to bring Mastemon into the fray. It just needs 1 to 2 more cards, and I think it's just really, it gets there. Dominionmon, aka the three Great Angels, I definitely think it's a gatekeeper. Still will do well into formats and stuff like that. Just something to think about. Diaboromon, would love to say it's in tier 2, but tier 3 has been, the tier 2s and tier 1s have gotten way much stronger, and it leads for the deck to kind of struggle a bit. So just something to think about there. Cinderellmon, just give it better support. Talcomon, definitely think it's a solid tier 3 deck. It's just very powerful. Local wise, it's not like you're getting the value with Gigaseedramon. You can do some crazy shenanigans, but it's just not enough there. Bellastar is up to tier 2, I think. I wouldn't scream tier 1 for this deck just yet. I would want to see more testing, but with the new Link support, the Apple support, it does help the deck out. Lilithmon, definitely tier 3, just kind of fallen down. Same with Bagra X, I would call it a dead deck here. Piedmon's deck, I would say, basically from the new Dark Master series, these are the big, you know, the 3 of these guys instantly are now super competitive. Taking a look at Dynamon, I definitely think it's very solid tier 2. When even with a body that's going to come out and just scare you when you kill it, it's just going to be really good. Black base blockers is gone, Shoto gone, so that means it's dead. Original Bialstar with kind of like purple hybrid shenanigans, solid tier 2 deck. Skittymon is a tier 2 deck as well. I would call Digimon just give it better support at this point. It went from one way to another direction and just didn't really communicate well enough, and it suffers from like the Sakuyamon issue. But again, a couple more dozen rookies that help it out will make it good. Sakuyamon definitely with the Talmon shenanigans and the token producing, it just makes great threat analysis. But again, now you do have like board wipes in the form of Digimon, which could easily scare this deck off the field. Pyramidi would just say tier 2. Gallantmon, X Antibody, as always, tier 1, crazy strong. Omnimon, definitely solid tier 2, I would say. Now, we do have Adventures, which I would say is tier 2 as well. Just, again, with the Adventures, you have a lot going for it. Now, we do have Gemmon, which I think comes now into tier 2 category very comfortably. Taiki, Crossheart, which, again, I feel like is a higher into the format. Definitely a solid tier 2 deck. Just the support it got was pretty decent. And then Marcus Punchy, you know, Shine Greymon. I definitely think the deck is very solid tier 2. Wouldn't count it out just yet if you guys were thinking, oh yeah, Shine's not doing much. Just give people time to build and adapt. But all in all, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.